Chat, what's going on? What's going on? We'll give it a couple minutes for people to file on in. Hope everybody's having a good night tonight. I'll tell you, I'm doing a lot better as of 11:01 than I was at 7:01. I'll tell you that. It was a very, very long day, but my gosh, man. How about those cards is right. I agree. Let's see. Give it a couple minutes before we pop on into the show. Appreciate you all tuning in on a very impromptu show. Share it with your friends. Get some more people in here. We deserve this, Card Nation. Don't let anybody tell you different. Don't let anybody gaslight you into thinking that this was less of a victory than it was. You know, because if the roles were reversed, we'd be hearing it right now. So get some more people in here and we will continue to get going. Of course, guys, leave some comments in the chat. I'm going to throw some up on the screen when we can and whatnot. So we'll go here. Let's say 11:04. We'll go to 11:04. Yeah. Most meaningful win against Kentucky since 2016. That is for certain. Hats off to him, man. Hats off to my guy, Sonny Frew. Mikel is a dog confirmed. Louisville legend. Hell yeah. Let's see. Louisville did play great. I thought they did. I thought that both teams played good to an extent. Here we go. Better enjoy this win. You all won't win for 5 or 6 more years. Hey, we're going to enjoy the win. We're going to enjoy the win. It was a good game, though. I thought that it had like the feeling of a March Madness game. Like it felt like an Elite Eight game. You know, we had that game against Alabama and St. John's last Saturday. This felt like one of those types of games. 3 missed free. I mean, you can say that about any game. All right, here a couple more seconds. We're going to go ahead and go live and get the show on the road, chat. I'm going to check a couple more things real quick, and we're going to be good to go, ready to roll. Leave your comments under the section below, and we'll address some of them after we get into the initial thoughts of the matchup. So, all right, we ready? All right, let's get started, shall we? All right, and 3, 2. Mikel Brown Jr. and Ryan Conwell lead the Louisville Cardinals in the rivalry thriller victory. You're locked on Louisville. Let's break it down.
You are Locked On Louisville, your daily podcast on the Louisville Cardinals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Card Nation, what's going on, everyone? I'm your host, Dalton Pence. This is the Locked On Louisville podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in the world. It is much appreciated. Coming to you live after this rivalry win over Kentucky, 96-88. Pat Kelsey defeats Mark Pope. We're going to discuss what this win means for Louisville, for Pat Kelsey, for this program, and much more. We'll give our 3 stars of the game, but we're going to start with our overall reaction. Of course, this is very unfiltered. These are raw thoughts that I have that I haven't really had time to reflect on. So if I sound like I'm repeating myself, hey man, not really sorry, but appreciate you all for hopping in for this impromptu live. And I'll just say, what a win. This had the vibes and the makings of a vintage March Madness game. Both of these teams going on huge runs. Louisville going up by 18 in the first half. Kentucky comes roaring back. Louisville does the same thing in the second half, and Kentucky makes it even closer. And at that point, the 4-point game, that's when the Cardinals took over, and it was Mikel Brown Jr. that stepped up in a huge way in this game. He's not the only one. We got a lot of flowers to give, but Mikel silenced the critics. People were taking victory laps when he struggled against Kansas. You saw them. I saw them. People couldn't wait to call him a bust after his first exhibition game, and he followed that up with a great performance against Bucknell, and then South Carolina State, and then Jackson State, and now he silences the doubters, silences the critics with a game-high 29 points. He was fantastic. 8 of 16 from the field. He wasn't the greatest from three-point land, 3 of 10, but 10 of 11 from the free throw line. I thought that he handled the emotional aspect of this game extremely well. 5 assists. Ryan Conwell was huge early on in this game. He finished with 24. Sonny Frew, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. And overall, after that, you had 3 other players with 9 points each. Isaac McNeely, Javon Hadley, and Adrian Woolley. You saw that depth on display. Case and Pryor, Kenai Roots didn't really play much in this game. For Pryor, it's just a matter of, I think it was a coaching decision. Just wasn't ready, wasn't as confident in that knee yet, and needed more time. And it's like, you know what, as he's finding or as he's figuring some things out, let's not rush him back. And then Kenai Roots, I thought it was an interesting coaching decision, but Kelsey went with the matchups and he rotated a certain way. And I thought that it was pretty solid in terms of rotations. Just a chess match all night long between 2 very good coaches. And I say it all the time. I hate that Kentucky hired Mark Pope because Mark Pope is genuinely a class act. And he's a really good X's and O's coach. And Kentucky's going to be good this year. I thought Pat Kelsey was just a little bit better on Tuesday night. Here's the thing. This is what won the game for the Cardinals, in my opinion. You can bring up three-point shooting. You can bring up the home atmosphere. You can bring up transition. But when you really break it down, this is what got the Cardinals the victory. The assist to turnover ratio. Louisville was more careful with the basketball. The Cardinals had 20 assists to just 6 turnovers. Kentucky, 14 and 14. That's your ball game right there. I hate to bring it up, but Matt Jones pointed that out, and I was literally looking through the box score as he said that. I'm like, oh, hey, ATO is what decided this game. Then I looked at Matt's tweet, and I'm like, damn it. He also said it. But that's your ball game, ladies and gentlemen. Louisville took care of the basketball more, and they played more team offense. It felt like with Kentucky, a good amount of it was iso ball. Now, they were streaky three-point shooting, which I think is going to be the identity of that team. But anyway, we're going to talk about Louisville in this. Just an overall gutsy performance. One of the main things that I was hoping to see from this team, and an underrated aspect of why Louisville hasn't been able to win a ton since 2010, since Calipari got hired and then Pope took over. I get it. Kentucky has been one of the more talented programs of the past 20 years. But an underrated aspect of that was the emotional side of this rivalry game. It seemed like every time these two teams play, Kentucky used the emotion as fuel to their advantage, and Louisville kind of counterproductive. They either didn't really rise to the bright lights and rise to the moment, or, hey, they did, but not in a great way. And you got to give Kentucky credit over the past couple of years, but this is the aspect that I mentioned on the radio show on Monday night, the preview to this game. Louisville had to answer the emotional bell of this game, and they did so early on. Like Ryan Conwell was firing on all cylinders early in this game. Mikel Brown Jr. had 20 points in the first half. Yeah, I think Mikel had a couple of shots where he tried to force it a little bit, a couple of heat checks, but for the most part, his offense came within the flow and rhythm of the offense, and he stepped up. He was kind of quiet in the second half. He went through those cramps, and he made plays. He had the and one when Kentucky cut it to 4. He had the and one at the under 4 media timeout. He had a couple big free throws. Now, yeah, Louisville missing 7 straight free throws was not ideal, and thankfully Jalen Lowe stepped on the baseline. They missed a couple shots. It doesn't matter. Devin mentions a good point. Last time these teams were both ranked, Louisville won that too. Is that right? I'm not sure if that's right. I think 2019, 2020 was the last time these two teams were ranked, and Kentucky ended up winning that game. Overall, really liked what I saw from the Cardinals in this game. They proved it against a really good team. And early on in the season, put the rivalry to the side for the moment. This is one of those games. It's a solid litmus test for, okay, how good are you? Because last year you got humbled pretty quickly against Tennessee. And I know that the vibes with this team is different than last year's team, but it's nice to have that justification and that validation showing that, hey, look, this is a really solid team. Louisville 2020. Yeah, no, you're right. That's right. That was that COVID season. For whatever reason, I guess the last 5 years has just been a blur, but it is what it is. So really good win for the Cardinals here. Let's go through some of the comments that we have. I want to get with what some of you all have said. Somebody says, Heavy Meadow Detective, for anyone, why did Hadley get so many minutes over Pryor and Roots? Like I said, I think Pryor, it was just a matter of you're getting him back into playing shape, and maybe this wasn't the game to kind of throw him into the mix and force him to learn as he goes. Roots, that's an interesting one as well. I think it might have just been a matchup thing with Hadley from, maybe a leadership standpoint. He's played in larger games up to this point. Those free throws, those free throws were just not great. Louisville will lose more games this year than Kentucky. I doubt it. I think Kentucky's going to be good, but the SEC is going to be better than the ACC. So I think that Kentucky's going to pick up some more losses. Let's see. Okay, a couple more thoughts. Let's see. Louisville doesn't miss 7 straight free throws. They win by 15. Yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda, though. It is what it is. Kentucky was down by 18 and came back. Or a couple missed threes and it's a different game. I mean, yeah, but what happened, happened. I mean, you play the hypothetical game all you want, but that is what it is. Something to note, we didn't shoot well in the second half and still on to a 6-point lead, and Sananda Faru iced the game. I agree with that. For certain. Better believe recruits watch this game. Yeah, that's something that we kind of talked about before the season. Of course, Pat Kelsey hasn't landed a 2026 recruit outside of a G League guy in this class, but you best believe that players are watching Louisville closely and seeing what Pat Kelsey can do. And you best believe those highly ranked players that are wondering, well, you've got a 5-star guy with Mikel. How can he operate and have success with this team? And you've seen it through the first 3 games. He's proven it already. So definitely awesome to see. Don't go anywhere. We're going to head to break just for a second. And when we come back, we're going to identify and hand out our 3 stars of the game. You're tuned into Locked On Louisville, covering your team every day. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with SupplyHouse. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process smoother. So join that free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right. So we got to hand out 3 stars of the game. And for those that haven't paid attention to the show, if you're an everydayer, but if this is your first time tuning in, appreciate you hopping on in. We cover your team 5 days a week, every day. Thanks for making Locked On Louisville your first listen every day in the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the world. But 3 stars of the game. If you're a hockey fan, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, I'm going to give you the top 3 players of the game. #1 star equals the MVP, and then follow in that line. So we're going to start with number 3. And if it wasn't for number 2 and number 1, he probably would be higher. Sananda Faru. Hats off to Sonny, man. Hats off to Faru. I know that he's received a good amount of criticism in exhibition play. And I mentioned just give him time. Yes, we need to see more, but you got to let him adjust to D1 basketball. And Louisville needed him to be really good he was phenomenal. The box score doesn't even give it justice. 10 points, game high, actually second on the team with 7 rebounds. He had 2 blocks in this game, didn't try to do too much. When the moment called for him to play well, he stood up, especially down the stretch. Like, this was such a great performance from the Cardinals big man. And it's extremely encouraging moving forward with Frew because, hey, we all kind of wondered, okay, what's going to potentially hold this team back? And we kind of pointed to the interior. Thought Khalifa played well. There were some instances in the first half where defensively UK was targeting him. They made adjustments, and that was that. He had a couple really big plays. Yeah, this is another one. Frew played like he's played high-level ball before. The guy played in the German Bundesliga. It's one of the top 5 leagues in Germany. This guy was ready for this game. It was just a matter of him getting used to playing with a new set of guys and a new completely style of basketball. That's the key here, is that he's playing a hugely different style of basketball. Let's see. Let me know who your all's top 3 stars of the game are as well. Number 2 is Ryan Conwell, 6 of 16 from the field. He had 24 points, played 32 minutes, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals, 4 of 10 from 3. Did most of his damage in the first half, had a couple of big minutes in the second half as well. And he was that steady hand for the Cardinals, and he helped set the tone early on. And that was key. If Louisville wanted to get the crowd going in this game, they needed to play with a lead. They needed to give their fans something to cheer for. And I thought that when he stepped up early on, he was knocking down big shots. The crowd followed Ryan Conwell, but more importantly, the team followed his lead. They matched his energy. If there were any pregame nerves, you couldn't tell. This is why you bring in a guy like Ryan Conwell. Let's not act like this isn't the same Ryan Conwell that played in those huge, highly anticipated Big East games last year. You say what you want about the Big East, but in terms of atmosphere, they know how to pack arenas, and he's played in some of those big rivalry ranked matchups, and he showed out and played at that level. So this was a great performance from Mr. Conwell. I thought defensively Ryan looked really good as well because he was having to guard Otega Owe for the majority of the night. And Owe had 12 points, but he had more field goals attempted than he had points. So Owe, granted, he had a little bit of foul trouble in the first half, but Pope decided to keep him in. Thought Louisville played really well in terms of defending Otega Owe, who is truly a dynamic player. And then number 1, you know it, Mikel. Mikel solidified himself in rare air in this game, not only from like a freshman standpoint. He is one of the best freshmen in the country, but hey, he also delivered when Louisville fans needed it the most. I mean, it's no secret. Kentucky's dominated this rivalry. Louisville needed this win exponentially more than Kentucky did. If you don't agree with that, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I respect your opinion. I just think it's wrong. Louisville needed this win. There was no excuse for them not to win this game. And they went out and they did. And it was largely in part due to what Kel was able to do. He's your MVP. He is the top player of the game from a scoring perspective, from a leadership perspective. Like, when the game got challenging, got tight at the end of the game, it seemed like, oh, we've seen this movie before. Guess what? Mikel stood up, he rose the occasion, and he did the damn thing. And it's awesome to see that. We're going to give a couple more shout-outs. Thought Adrian Woolley, I mean, he had a couple plays where I didn't really like what he did, but 9 points, 5 rebounds. Thought he was really good in this game. High effort in this contest. Kobe Rogers gave you some good minutes off the bench. Javon Hadley, this is why you bring a guy like him back by any means. 9 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block. switching on to the faster guards for Kentucky. I mean, he's just the guy that doesn't get the credit. He's like the center for football. They are exponentially important, but they don't get as much credit as they should for what they do. And that's Javon Hadley. He's the ultimate glue guy for this team. And just overall, really solid performance from him, and glad that he was able to come back. Isaac McNeely didn't have a bad game. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Even when his shot wasn't falling, I felt like he was affecting the game in other ways. And that's what I love about this team, is that even when the scoring isn't there, you have other guys pick you up and you just play your role. So appreciate that, Sid. Appreciate it a ton. Let's go through some comments before we get into the next segment about what this win means for the program, for the fan base, for PK, for this team, and much more. Maybe Stokes will change his mind. I doubt it, unfortunately. I wish Pat played Roots a lot more. I will say this, Sid. I feel like this is just a testament to how much depth this team has. Kenai Roots led the team in points and rebounds per game through the first 2 games. And you just beat the number 9 team in the country with him playing, 11 minutes? What did Roots play? 11 minutes. He didn't score in this game. He didn't have a single rebound. He had a steal, and that was it. He took 1 shot. Roots didn't have to do too much. That's just a testament to the depth that you have. I think Woolley will be acclimated fully as we get closer and closer. Another thing is he didn't have Case and Pryor really much. So this team is going to catch its stride, but it was so critical to get this type of victory early on. So critical to get this type of victory. When we have the amount of firepower and we look this good on defense, what is the limit? I will argue that defensively we had our moments, but I would like to see more. You gave up 88 points. Part of that's because you're playing such a fast pace of play, but also gave up too many open threes for my liking, gave up too many just open layups at times. Ollie looked great passing the ball around. Yes, that is executing his role. Let's see. I agree with this. Kansas exhibition helped a lot. I think it humbled the team. It's like, hey, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and understand that you're not the team you think you can be yet. So I don't think that we win without the Kansas pregame. Very, very solid point. Very, very solid point. Let's see a couple more comments before we get into a very interesting segment. Owe was on Mikel. Mikel made him look like Wesley Johnson guarding James Harden. You get brownie points, Devin. I'm a huge Houston Rockets fan, and I remember watching that game live in 2018. Harden, one of the best crossovers in NBA history. So you get some brownie points there. Let's see. We'll step aside here. When we come back, guys, let's talk about what this win does for the program, for the fan base, for Pat Kelsey, for this team in general, and much more. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned into Locked On Louisville, covering your team every day. If you're someone who likes to sports bet, then you will see that the Cardinals covered the 6.5-point spread, winning 96-88 over Kentucky. But also, don't forget, hoops is back in general. There's no better place to get in on the NBA action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even when you miss the start of the game or once a ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a larger payout. It keeps every game more exciting, and especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Once again, thank you all so much for tuning into this live edition of the show. All the everydayers in the chat. There's over 100 people in the queue. Appreciate you all for tuning in. If you are tuning in after the fact, that is okay as well. Thank you for making Locked On Louisville your first listen of the day. But let's talk about what this win does. And there's a couple points that I want to make. For starters, this is great for the fan base that has been yearning for a victory. It hasn't been easy. I would argue there hasn't been any other college basketball fans out there that have had it more challenging than Louisville fans. We had to go through an era where all the Chris Mack drama, of course, in the COVID year, or after the COVID year when he took the buyout or agreed to a buyout, and then you hire Kenny Payne, and then it's the worst 2 college basketball seasons in program history, maybe all time. You're the laughingstock of college basketball. Last year was a solid step in the right direction for the revival, but make no mistake about it, Card Nation, don't let anyone gaslight you into saying that you shouldn't celebrate this victory. What future say? You know how far we came if you know where we've been. A lot of people don't. They don't know the rock bottom. They don't know what it's like to lose every game by 20 points, it feels like. Celebrate. Have some fun. You should definitely have bragging rights in this game. Now, I will say this. What we've seen from Kentucky fans, I will say I think Kentucky's a good team. Not just saying that to kind of smooth things over. I think Kentucky's a good team. I think they're going to be better when JQ comes along and is able to play. But I'm seeing a lot of rebuttals like, oh, well, Louisville doesn't win this game if JQ plays. And one thing I remember last year is when Louisville was missing 3 key rotational guys, 2 starters. They lost the game at Rupp, and Kentucky fans were adamant that Louisville couldn't use that as an excuse, despite the fact that the Cardinals had, seven players? They had 7 players early on in the season playing on the road, having to scramble to make things work. Guys are gassed by the end of the game. Now, here's the thing. Cardinals had every opportunity to make that interesting, and they didn't. So, fair game to Kentucky. You win fair and square. It is what it is, right? But if you won't let us use excuses last year, there's no excuses this year. It's just the result. Because when we tried to play the hypothetical game last year, it was met with take the L, accept it, who cares? Now, look, JQ is better than any of the 3 that Louisville was missing last year. But don't forget, Louisville in early season was missing 3 contributors. They had 7 guys. 7 guys last year. So why is Boston College out here catching a stray? Off topic. Can we drop BC out of the ACC? Anyways, it is what it is, right? UK guy, but they beat us fair and square. Very nice team. And that's the thing. This was a very good game. It's just that, if Louisville can't use excuses last year with 3 guys out, even though maybe all 3 of them aren't as good individually as JQ, 3 players, Louisville only play with 7. If you don't let Louisville use the excuse of injuries this year, or last year, then Kentucky can't use them this year, in my opinion. That's just the way that I see it. Now, I do hope that JQ comes back very quickly. I'm a big fan of JQ. I already told all of y'all that if you're an everyday of the show, I wanted him to come to Louisville when he was a senior, when he was into the portal. But anyway, hopefully he has a quick and full recovery and he gets onto the court soon. But this is bragging rights for the Cardinals, because you best believe that if this were the other way around, that we would be hearing it. There will be a million comments under the comment section of my show. So Louisville, I thought, was the better team. Kentucky, this is a good point. Kentucky played good for about 10 minutes total. I agree. Thought Louisville was the better team. They were enforcer. John Anderson said, like you said earlier, no ifs, ands, or buts. And it would have been the same thing if Louisville would have lost this game, right? I mean, you can't play the hypothetical game. But anyway, bragging rights, because all offseason, all April, we heard about, well, Louisville's better. No, Kentucky's better. The Wildcats are better. No, the Cardinals are better. Another aspect of this is that if the rumor's true and Kentucky is paying their team north of $22 million, and you take JQ out of the equation, Kentucky still paid significantly more for the guys on the court tonight than Louisville's paid for their roster. I can tell you that. Kentucky has still significantly paid their roster more than Louisville's paying theirs. Louisville set the tempo. Loved how Mikel took control and closed the game. So when you pay that much for a roster, and more power to you, you pay for it. I mean, if you have the money, by all means, spend it. But if you spend the most money in college basketball, you're going to be asked to deliver the results. Anyway, I'm not here to talk trash. I'm here to talk about the University of Louisville. For PK, I think he needed this win. And it's a two-part thing. You needed to win the rivalry game because you needed to do something that other coaches haven't had much success at, like Pitino. Calipari owned the rivalry when Pitino was here. Chris Mack won one game. Kenny Payne didn't want to win the game. I can't. I got to stop bringing up the past 2 years, man. You just kind of laugh at it. But PK winning this game, I think in some sort of way, like validates where the revival is on the course of rebuilding this program, right? I feel like it kind of validates it, like, hey, yeah, you go 27-8 last year, but who'd you beat? Who'd you beat? You didn't beat Kentucky. Now you do. And you kind of address the elephant in the room. Payne didn't want to win any game. Next step for PK is to win an NCAA tournament game. I think he's winless so far. He has already made the ACC title game. Yeah, he's winless in his career for NCAA tournament games. I think that this is a big win for him in terms of the rivalry. I think that this is a huge win for him overall as the Louisville head coach. You can take the rivalry aspect to the side. Like if you say instead of number 9 Kentucky, you're saying number 9, I don't know, UConn. Let's say you say number 9 UConn. Insert team here that's pretty good, right? That is something that we've been waiting to see from Pat Kelsey, is winning the big game. Last year, your best win was Clemson. Now, I think you have to factor context into the equation, but it doesn't matter from the national media perspective. People don't care about the injuries you sustained early on in the season last year. Louisville was a much better team January on, but they stumbled. They didn't take advantage of the tough non-conference schedule and win any of the big games. Now you do have that big victory. People watched that game. It was on prime time. Still, I hated that it was on November 11th, but it is what it is. Any place, anytime. But that is the big win that people have been waiting to see from Pat Kelsey. Like, yeah, he's a cool guy. He delivers great interview quotes. But is he going to beat a team that's better than Clemson? Now you have it. Now you've got that win. It's sort of a sigh of relief because Louisville fans, look, we know we watch every game. We are confident in the direction that Pat Kelsey is taking us, right? The issue is that you still got to convince it to the national media and the national landscape. And Duo, what's up, man? Nice to see you in here. Got it done. PK finally got that big time win. Yes. I hope we can stay healthy. Please stay healthy. Mikel had me scared. Someone asked me about my reaction to it. I mean, I was nervous. I'm like, you know, that meme is like God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. He's like, can you like give me a break? And there's a meme of Jesus. Like, how are you still alive? And I feel like that's been a representation of Louisville fans and epitomizing this journey that we've been on. But anyway, this is a big win for PK from a rivalry perspective and also from a just narrative perspective that he can win the big game now. The last point that I will make is this. This is what you didn't have last year. Pat Kelsey obviously went to the Denny Crum School of Non-Conference Scheduling. Love it. I love these marquee non-conference games, but you saw it hurt you last year. It wasn't the amount of wins that mattered to the NCAA tournament committee. It was the quality of wins. How many Q1 wins do you got? Who are your best wins against? The difference between Clemson and Louisville in terms of resume, what was it? 3 seeds? 3 lines on a seed or 3 seed lines? It was the win over Kentucky and the win over Duke. Those wins mattered in the eyes of the committee. Now, will they move the goalpost? Almost certainly. But it's pretty clear that they value these caliber victories, and this victory is going to be huge for the Cardinals' resume moving forward, because now you've got a top 10 victory. And even though the SEC's good, like the SEC's really good, Alabama, gosh, they're so good. That backcourt's amazing. You've got some other really solid teams in that conference, Florida moving on, so on and so forth. Kentucky's going to take their bumps along the road. They're going to take some losses, but at the end of the year, I think that they're going to be a really good team primed for a tournament run, and that's going to help this Louisville resume, is saying, hey, Louisville did really good in ACC play, but the difference between 2024-25 and 25-26 is all of a sudden they capitalized. They showed the rest of the country that they can beat some top teams. Kentucky is a top team, in my opinion. I'll take it a step further. I think the perception of a certain team early in the season matters. Remember North Carolina last year? They were perceived as good early on, and then they lost a ton in the non-conference slate. And then they sort of like, in a weird way, like validated things on the back end. And maybe if Bubba Cunningham isn't the chair, isn't the committee, the chair of the committee, maybe they don't get in. But it seemed like the perception of North Carolina from early on in the season kind of stuck with everybody. For Louisville, the earlier that you can get the rest of the country believing in you, it's only going to go up in terms of your tournament seeding because people are going to perceive Louisville as good. And I'm hoping I'm making sense there, but in a weird way, I think this stuff matters, guys. Like, I really think it matters. Like, this type of a win matters. And it's not the end of the road. It's just the beginning because contrary to what some Kentucky fans may believe, yeah, you could prioritize the rivalry and still be hunting for the national championship, which the Cardinals are going to be in the mix for. So Saturday, you've got Ohio continually trying to get better and better. You've got Cincinnati on a neutral court up in Cincinnati next weekend. So, of course, we're going to have a couple comments before we wrap things up on the show. Get any comments in. I'll discuss some things. Hit the like button and go Cards. Yeah, hit the subscribe button. Share it with your friends. This is a 5-day-a-week show, Monday through Friday. We are committed when it's really good, like right now, and even when it's not so good. CC, the football loss on Monday's episode. So I don't see a single team as deep as Louisville. Yes, teams like Duke, Purdue, Houston have stars, but they don't have a roster that can rotate 11, 12 guys. Fair point. Let's see. Donovan over there looking like a proud dad when it came to Mikel. I love having Donovan Mitchell around this program as an ambassador because Louisville needs more of these guys. And when you can get more players coming back and investing in the program, it's great. They said PK can't win big games. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to. The only thing that's going to shut the narrative up is winning these games. So let's see. We got some more comments in here before we wrap things up. What's up, my dude? Definitely got to stay healthy. This team is special. They're going to win the ship. Hey, let's put it into existence. Is it me or was the announcers obsessed with the fact that Mikel wasn't sweating? I didn't see a single drop of sweat on any Louisville player. The conditioning is elite, and that's very important. I do think the conditioning does go into play here. Maybe it's because Mikel was having cramps. I mean, you saw that they were, giving him Gatorade on the sideline. We're deeper than the Mariana Trench this year. What a reference. What an insane pull there. Now more eyes are watching Louisville basketball, more recruiting. I think that it can only help for sure. You could hear a pin drop when Mikel went down. I definitely don't doubt it. Anybody know why Pryor didn't play that much? We had a couple comments from Wade and from Duel. I'm going to address this. I don't think it's anything to worry about. I think it's a tactical decision from PK. If you remember, even if he did play, he wasn't going to play much, less than 20 minutes, because it was always going to be something to where you targeted late November as like a no restrictions in terms of minutes for Pryor. Now, in this game, maybe Pat Kelsey felt like, this is my take on it, is that different personnel were going to yield you better results with Pryor still coming back from that knee injury. Still doesn't look like he's all the way confident in going full speed. And this was going full speed. So I don't worry about Case and Pryor. You're going to see him more against Ohio. They're taking it slowly by design. Nothing is to worry about here. And he's going to play more and more. We need to work on free throws. There's no complaints there. All signs point to a much better ACC. I think it's going to be a better overall team-by-team ACC. I still do wonder about the top-end talent. So I'm not sure that you're going to have as many great wins for opportunity or great opportunities for wins. Dalton, the Kentucky question. Why do you think Kentucky fans feel like JQ makes them an immediate title contender? Didn't he destroy his leg? He tore his ACL back in, I think, March or April and had surgery back then. I think because he's projected a top 10 pick due to potential. He's one of the better defensive centers and the potential is there. But I mean, big men coming off of ACL tears, you just never know. Hopefully he has a quick and full recovery, though. So I think Pat Kelsey didn't play Pryor or Roots just in case we have to play them later in the year in the tourney. I mean, Roots, I don't know. I think Roots was just a tactical decision. He went with Hadley more and went with more guard play. What did I tell you all? I told you all that Louisville's going to play 3-guard lineups when it matters most because that is their advantage. They have the best backcourt in the country. And the way that you show it is having 3 guys on the court that can just spread you out and make those threes and take it to the rack. So you and I both, I'd be enjoying this game if our football team didn't crap the bed. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. My guy Lance Dahl over at Locked On Kentucky is great, by the way, as well. But overall, this was a great win. Great win for the program. Great win for Pat Kelsey. Great win for this team. Great win for Mikel, for Ryan, for everyone involved. But most importantly, it's a great win for this fan base because you deserve it. The Louisville fans tuning into the show, you deserve it. I know the heartache that you, I, everyone else in here has been through. It's been a tough past half decade or so, basically full decade for this program. We're bringing it back, and this was a good step in the right direction. Once again, thank you all for making Locked On Louisville your first listen of the day. We are free and available on YouTube, TikTok. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a comment in the YouTube section below. Share it with your friends. And once again, thank you all for making Locked On Louisville, or the Locked On Podcast Network, your number one sports podcast network in the world. I said that correctly. Number one sports podcast network by the numbers in the world. Thank you all so much. We'll see you back tomorrow as we talk about what's next for this team and moving forward. Football coming up with a Friday night game against Clemson. All that coming up we'll have a Thursday show. Probably won't have a Wednesday show because this is the Wednesday show. But everyone, have a great night. Celebrate the hell out of this victory, man. Don't let anybody gaslight it into telling you that you shouldn't be celebrating. And we'll see you back here very soon. Go Cards. L's up.